and we need to talk about tonight. I want to hear not just from people like Jackson Keane and Reese Gaber and all those guys we talked to who play at UND. I want to hear from the women who are going all over the United States, especially Canadian women who are going to the US and getting that opportunity to play hockey at its highest level. And so that's the inspiration behind tonight's show.
And in this case, a young lady who came from the U.S. up to Canada to coach in Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. We've never had a doctor on our show. She's a PhD, by the way, so we'll get a little PhDing out of her as we have that conversation. But this is from the Nilles Law Firm studio on the mighty 790 KFGO, established in the early 1900s. The Nilles Law Firm provides legal services in more than 10 areas of practice, including business and corporate law, estate planning, wills and trusts, probate, commercial litigation, adoption services, as well as real estate. A division of Nilles Law Firm is Northern Title, which provides complete closing and escrow services, along with title insurance policies for all types of real estate transactions in North Dakota, as well as Minnesota. Call Nilles Law Firm at 701-237-5544, or look them up on the World Wide Web at nilleslaw.com. And thus, the Nilles Law Firm studio travels from here. It travels up to Ralph Engelstad Arena, and we do appreciate that sponsorship. So, Scott, open the gate, introduce our first guest.
Well, we actually have two guests with us, but I want to start with Alana Collins, Dr. Alana Collins, and I love to say that because we don't get PhDs on this show very often. You are the assistant coach of the women's U18 team at Pilot Mound and the strength coach for all the teams.
Correct.
Tell us the story of how you got from the Eastern United States to Pilot Mound, town of 800 in Western Manitoba.
Sure. So after I finished college, my goal was to make the U.S. national team, and was unfortunately cut, one of the last cuts from the 2006 team. So I ended up coaching for a year at an NCAA Division III school, Williams College. And then that was just an interim coaching position, and I wanted to get back into playing. So I got recruited from a team in Vancouver, Canada. And so I ended up moving all the way to the West Coast and played for the BC Breakers, which was a part of the Western Women's Hockey League. And once the recession kind of hit, the Western Women's Hockey League really struggled to kind of keep afloat. So unfortunately, that team was not able to stay live. And so I ended up going back to school, and I got my doctorate in physical therapy. And my husband is actually from Pilot Mound. So he and I met out on the West Coast. And that is ultimately what brought us back to Canada.
So you are not only doing the strength stuff at Pilot Mound, but you're also coaching this team.
Correct.
Tell us about the opportunities that Pilot Mound has for young players, certainly from young players in Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, who will be listening to this program tonight.
Sure. Yeah, so the academy is really focused on that skill development. So skill development from a hockey standpoint, developing those really small hockey skills that often get overlooked from your average AAA program. And they're also really focused on skill development from just a physical standpoint. So where I come in, my job is to really try to develop the young neuromuscular system and to kind of have an eye on parts of that system that haven't developed yet in the younger athletes, and to really develop those areas of the body. So we're focusing on a lot of off-ice training, focusing on the strength piece, but also just how your body responds to to impact and to changes that you face on the ice. So that's where I come in. I'm helping with the girls program. I don't travel with the girls team just because I've got 4 girls of my own, so that keeps me busy. But I'm real excited to kind of help and grow that piece here in Pilot Mound.
Are they hockey players?
2 of them are, and 2 of them are too young. So one's on the ice right now.
So are you a Tiger mom? Do you want them to become as good a hockey players as you were? Or
I'm not want to let them play the game? I just want them to love it as much as I loved it. So I was lucky. I came from a family that really didn't pressure me too much, and I came from a background where we did every sport that we could do, and we did every sport for through high school. So I didn't just play hockey. And that's something that I see a lot of value in, especially seeing a lot of kids right now are coming in and they just play hockey. I've been able to kind of see a lot of lapses in their physical development because of that.
You somehow, by not specializing in hockey throughout high school, still got to Dartmouth.
Yep.
And still played in the NCAA Division I.
Yep.
How did that come about? Tell us your background story and how you got to Dartmouth.
Yeah, so I grew up playing boys hockey in a small town of 3,000 people in upstate New York.
Well, then you can handle Pilot Mound.
Oh yeah. Well, the town of 3,000 is seems really big right now. Yeah, so I have an older brother, and we just competed against each other and played, and I was lucky enough to be a part of a great high school girls hockey team in Connecticut, and played in the travel team arena. We went to all the national travel tournaments, and I got recruited by Dartmouth. I loved the college. I did look at a bunch of other universities, but just sort of fell in love with that small town in Hanover, New Hampshire.
And you are listening to, by the way, I'll break in here for a second, to Game On Hockey on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM. Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn on a Thursday evening. Game On is each and every week at 5:30, and we carry on the conversation. Alana, the Collins family. You talk about, when you sit around the hot stove and talk about hockey, Rod Collins has a few stories. Let's go down the list of all the things. But Shattuck St. Mary's, obviously, when you talk about Shattuck St. Mary's, that's probably the epitome of what you'd like to achieve at Pilot Mound, I would anticipate, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're trying to grow a program that 100+ girls want to apply to every year, and we get to select and pick our top 20. So yes, that's kind of what we're looking to achieve.
Okay, I want to bring in our other guest for right now, because we're talking about small towns, and here's a young woman who's from a small town, Deloraine, correct?
Yes.
I always had a good time. Had a good time in Deloraine. This is Ashton Bell from the University of Minnesota Duluth, playing at the University of Minnesota Duluth, and I want to congratulate you because you're a 3 consecutive gold medal winner, the 2021 World Women's Championship, the 2022 Olympics, and the 2022 World Women's Championship. Congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So you came from a small town, and you played junior. You didn't play prep hockey. You played not junior, but AAA U18. Tell us your route from Deloraine, Manitoba to University of Minnesota Duluth.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in a small town, I had 2 brothers who were involved in hockey as well. My dad loved the game as well. So I think just at a young age, I was put in skates right away. Played boys growing up, both girls and boys growing up through minor hockey, and then played 4 years with the Westman Wildcats, the AAA program based out of Hartney, Manitoba. And yeah, I think that program was amazing for me. Being able to stay at home was really important for me. Love being on the farm and with the horses. So being able to stay at home and play hockey was really important, and I'm so grateful for that program. And I think I got a lot of exposure in that program as we went to a lot of tournaments and stuff, and got to compete with Team Manitoba for a couple of years, which led me to playing for the U18 Canadian women's team. And yeah, I was able to get recruited by, first off, North Dakota Grand Forks, which was a childhood dream of mine to play for that program. But unfortunately, it folded before I ever got the chance to play there. So yeah, Duluth was a top choice the first time around as well. So after that North Dakota there folded, I knew immediately that that's where I wanted to end up. So yeah.
What we're going to do now, we're going to take a quick break. We've got some commercials to run, and we're going to carry this conversation on with our guests. We're going to hear about a little bit more about University of Minnesota Duluth. And just a side note, I know Scott Silent very well. He played at University of North Dakota after I played. He's much younger than I am. We beat Dartmouth, by the way, in the Frozen Four 2 years in a row, 1979 and 1980. So I had to rub the Dartmouth thing in there for you. But we'll carry on this conversation with our great guests and of course, Scott Taylor running the show here this evening on the Mighty 790 KFGO. You're indeed listening from the Nilles Law Firm studio on a beautiful Thursday evening in Fargo, North Dakota with great guests. How much more fun can you have than this? But we'll take a break. When we come back, more conversation. You're listening to Game on Hockey on the Mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM.
Alana, are you good? Can you stay another segment, or do you have to go coach?
From the Nils Law Firm studio and broadcasting on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM, this is indeed Game On Hockey with Scott Taylor and Travis Dunn. And Scott has arranged some great guests for us today and great conversation. Alana Collins had to jump off. She had a hockey practice to get to. That's what happens when you've got 4 kids and all sorts of things going on in Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. But we carry on the conversation with Ashton Bell. Go ahead, Scott.
Do you need something from me right now?
Oh, yeah. Let's do the Jarrells
I think
thing.
you do.
Yeah. Do that.
Let's talk about Jarrell's Hockey World, okay? Because we like Jarrell's because they're good to us here.
Yes, they are.
In business for 50 years and the 2021 U.S. Bauer Retailer of the Year right here in our own backyard. You have access to experts who will outfit you and what you need to succeed on the ice because hockey is what they do. As a Bauer Game Fit dealer, it allows Jarrell's to scan your head, feet, and shooting style to ensure the best performance. Now, wherever you're hearing this message, remember that Jarrell's has a good stock of CCM and Warrior sticks, bags, and equipment, plus true skates and sticks. And this year, introducing goalie equipment and sticks, including Vaughn goal equipment that can be ordered in custom colors. And Jarrell's has Winwell off-ice training items as well. Don't forget, Jarrell's has the best in referee jerseys and gear, as well as figure skating equipment. And Jarrell's Hockey World has it all in the service department, will ensure that your gear is tuned up and ready to go. Jarrell's Hockey World, 1004 South Washington Street in Grand Forks. Call 701-775-0553 and at them at Jarrell's Hockey.
And you can follow me at Travis G. Dunn1 on Twitter and Scott at S. Taylor Sports to get updates on who our guests are each and every week. And again, we usually try to fill. Last week, Dave Tippett, former coach of Edmonton, and a few other hockey teams, and Troy Murray, former Winnipeg Jet. So those are the kind of guests we have on a weekly basis. But this week is a special one. Scott, fire away.
We have Ashton Bell and Avery Pickering has joined us. So I want to talk about a lot of things. I wish we had like 4 hours for this. But Ashton, you ended up at UMD. You had been with Canada's national U18 team. Is that right? Before you went to Minnesota Duluth.
Yeah, correct.
Tell us the process of and the work it takes to go from Hartney, Manitoba, the farm, to the U18 team, to UMD, to the women's national team. Tell us that journey.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it takes a lot of work and dedication and drive to get to UMD and to play D1 college hockey. And I think playing for the U18 team with Team Canada definitely helped set me up well leading into my freshman year at UMD, just being able to compete at a high level and practice with the best throughout Canada. Definitely helped me develop my game and get me ready for that freshman year leading into college. And I think playing with the Westman Wildcats as well, I had great coaches there that pushed me every day as well and shared my goals with me to play at the D1 level. So I'm grateful for them and for that program.
Now you're at UMD. Tell us about playing NCAA D1 hockey. What kind of an experience is it and how much do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I love playing college here at UMD. It's been the best 4 years going on 5 of my life and wouldn't take any of it for granted. It's trying to enjoy the moment right now and take it day by day as it does go by really fast. Like they all say, 4 years just flies by in a snap of a finger. So my 4 years at UMD have been the best. I've met some of my best friends here and the coaches, the program, the facilities I get to go to every day are truly outstanding. And we're treated like elite athletes here. And they've helped me reach my goals to play at the Olympic level. And have just helped me so much accomplish my dreams. So super grateful for this program and the time I've had here.
And a big weekend coming up this weekend as the University of Wisconsin. Are they visiting or are you going there? I read the.
We're at home. We're coming here.
Kind of a big weekend for you guys there, isn't it?
Yes, for sure. Definitely want to get 6 points out of this weekend.
You've had a pretty good start to the season. Now you took a year off for the Olympics, right? During the COVID year.
Yeah, correct.
And you got an extra year because of that situation. Explain that.
Yeah, so what was going to be my senior year, that was when COVID came about. So it was a normal year and lucky enough that they offered us a fifth year and another year of eligibility. So when I found out I was going to get centralized the following year after my senior year, definitely didn't take that opportunity up for granted. And my coaches supported me and knew that had been a dream of mine. So I went and got centralized for the Olympics. And then I knew right away that I wanted to come back for my fifth year this year. And just so grateful to be able to have a fifth year here at UMD and come back and play with my best friends.
You've also had a pretty good start. You've been player of the week once or twice?
Once, I think. Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to start a season after a year off.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a great start for our team, and got lost a couple of games last week against Ohio, but we're excited for this weekend against Wisconsin. And yeah, can't wait. Super excited about how our team's looking right now and looking forward to the rest of the season. So
I want to bring in Avery Pickering, who is on her way to being Ashton Bell, one hopes. Avery on Canada's national U18 team, a member of the Balmoral Hall Blazers of the Junior Women's Hockey League, all United States league, other than a couple of teams, Stansted and you and maybe a couple others. Avery, welcome to the show. You just committed. You're going to Colgate University. Tell me your process of getting from St. Adolphe, Manitoba, through a prep school program to Colgate.
Yeah, you know what? It's a pretty long road. I guess I'm still pretty young, but it's a lot of years going into this. So, I mean, the process to get to BH was something in itself. Sort of the transition from boys hockey into girls hockey, and then spent a year at a different program, and then I've been here for the past 3 years. But I was lucky enough that on my June 15th, a couple years ago, had a lot of different options, and was able to really take time in the process and figure out sort of what fit best for me. And so did a year of talking to different teams and going on official visits, which was just a wild experience, and ended up coming out and committing to Colgate, which I'm super excited about. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Now, like Ashton and like Alana Collins, you're from a small town, but it's a small town that's pretty close to Winnipeg. But you played small town hockey growing up. You didn't come to Winnipeg when you were younger.
Yes, yeah. I played St. Adolphe Hawks is what I would have played up until first year Pee Wee. So U13, I played. Actually went to a year in the city because our AA team here was shut down for that year. But yeah, played many years, sort of small town hockey. Got to go to provincials and play with cousins, with my dad coaching me. It's that sort of small town experience, and I think that was amazing for me. I really loved that time, and it was really good in sort of shaping who I am today.
Hi, Avery. This is Travis, by the way. And by the way, listening to Game on Hockey in the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 Hope. We sure appreciate you joining us each and every week for great hockey conversations. What was your inspiration? Obviously, NCAA. When did you first hear about the option? Was it Ashton Bell, someone you looked at, or who was your inspiration to take that leap of faith and work towards the ultimate goal of getting an NCAA scholarship?
I couldn't. It's been so long, I couldn't even tell you exactly when it happened. I've kind of had the dream that I haven't come yet to achieve is to play for the Olympic team. Obviously, that's the highest level I want to reach, and through that, there's a couple different paths, but everyone around me, like Ashton Bell, everyone that I was hearing about who was getting to that level, was going the NCAA route. And so it was something that for as long as I can remember, the goals were play NCAA Division I hockey and then use that to get to the Olympics and play for Team Canada. So, I think my parents really helped me to know that was out there for me, and they showed me that path, and I've wanted it ever since.
You come from a hockey family. There was a reason you played hockey. Tell us your origin story and why you got on the rink in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, for me, hockey is really a family game. It's a family thing. My parents actually still play beer league together on Sundays in St. Adolphe. They play some same team. Sometimes they're against each other, but they still do that even now. And so it's really, they grew up in the game. And then my older brother, Owen Pickering, he started playing when he was really young, and sort of watching him and watching my parents and just getting put out on the ice really shaped my love for it. So it's something I was put into very early and fell in love with at a very young age.
Do you compete against your brother? By the way, your brother was first round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We have to bring that up, and I hate to do it, but it's the reality of the situation. Do you compete?
Yes. Yeah, both him and I have a younger brother, Graham, who's 13 now and playing his first year of hitting hockey. But we are extremely competitive. I think that's probably the defining factor of our sibling relationship is, many battles in the basement, always like going hard at each other. We have an ODR in our backyard every year that, it's shaped us in terms of our actual skills, played a lot of different keep away games and stuff, but there was definitely some people getting thrown into snowbanks in the mix there. So I've had a lot of competition with my brothers, and it's definitely helped me to grow as a player, especially with Owen being, as high of a level player as he is. I've really been able to watch him and his game and take a lot of the things that I do from what he does.
I'm looking at Travis. He's not moving, so I have another question.
Yes, you do.
We talked to Alana Collins earlier, the assistant coach at Pilot Mound, who talked about playing all sorts of different sports. And I know Ashton played a lot of different sports. You finally got that opportunity to go back and play some school sports this year, because you aren't just a hockey player. You play women's baseball as well. Tell us about your last school year.
Yeah, I play both boys and girls baseball. I had to play baseball, not softball. But so my 15U boys AAA team this past year actually won Manitoba Provincials for AAA. And they were able to go to Westerns for that. And then I was able to play on the U21, U16, and senior women's Team Manitoba baseball teams at nationals. And so that's something I've done for years. Baseball is also a family sport. It's always come after hockey, just the way it is. But I've played that for years. And then also this past school year, because I was finally able to play school sports, I played ultimate frisbee for the first time, went to provincials for that, and played soccer. Our team actually won zones for soccer. It was basically the entire BH Blazers hockey team put on the soccer field. Did really well with it somehow. Actually was able to come 8th in Manitoba badminton provincials, and then did track and field for the first time in years. I've been waiting for that, and was able to second in provincial discus and 3rd in provincial shot put. So it was a pretty eventful spring. I sort of took the opportunity I was given and just ran all out at it, trying to balance. I was taking AP exams at the same time too. So those are some pretty busy days, but I had so much fun with finally being able to, do the other sports that I love to play as well.
Okay,
Scott,
I want to bring it before we go.
ahead.
I want to bring in Ashton in here really quickly. Yep. Because I know Ashton is a great all-around athlete, but I'm going to ask her a question that I know she's sick and tired of hearing. I know for a fact she hates it, but I have to bring it up. You were the provincial high school rodeo champion. Is that correct?
Not a champion, just was involved in high school rodeo, but by far a champion.
Tell us about your background off the ice.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, farm kid growing up, loved horses, loved getting out and riding, and helping my uncle and the neighbors out on the ranch and doing cattle branding and stuff. So it's kind of different than other athletes, but it was a passion of mine and still is, and still like to get out whenever I can and go for a nice ride. So
sounds like there's some similarities, Scott, between Noelle Needham and Ashton. Noelle now Chicago Steel assistant general manager, runs Sioux Falls Power, started small town. And one thing we've learned, I think, by keeping extremely busy with all the sports, going to school, you're driven young ladies that have succeeded to the best level. And I'm so excited for Avery getting that chance to go to Colgate. That's going to be awesome. Ashton will be following University of Minnesota Duluth. Yes, you're not the Fighting Hawks thing. Yeah, that's still a debate going on out here, by the way, about women's hockey. But we sure appreciate you ladies jumping on board. Regardless if you're north of the border or south of the border, small town in the USA, small town Manitoba, small town Canada, you can succeed to the highest levels if you put your mind to it. And we sure appreciate you being on Game On, because you've made it a better show because of it. Ashton Bell, Avery Pickering, thank you so very much. Scott and I will hang around for the break. We'll bid adieu to you, and we'll take a quick break. And from the Nilles Law Firm studio, you're having a great night, I hope, listening to Game On Hockey on the Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM. FM, Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn. This is Game On Hockey. Make sure to stay tuned after. There's a little football game going on this evening. Paulie Alliance, who's on there? The Buccaneers and
Tampa Bay Rays and the
Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh,
That's
I'm
baseball.
sorry. That's baseball. You see, I'm missing summer so much.
Oh, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Tell you what.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Baltimore Ravens tonight.
Sunset 6:18. Good gracious. And we switch the clocks back in a couple of weeks. Getting cold and chilly. These nights are getting long, but hey, we hope you stay warm and join us each and every Thursday night. Scott, one thing we have to say before I get into my Sioux shop and my Ralph Engelstad Arena comments, Ashton Bell, a great young lady, and Avery Pickering. We were talking between, off the air in the commercial break. She's 16 years old and she's going to Colgate next year.
Yeah, it's an incredible story. She skipped a grade. was always age advanced in hockey, was the player of the week in the Junior Women's Hockey League. And you have to understand the Junior Women's Hockey League in the United States is all of those big prep schools in the East mostly. And then there's a school like Stansted from Quebec, which is probably the best female prep school in our country. But she was the player of the week in the U19 section. There's a U22 and a U19 in the Junior Women's Hockey League. She was the player of the week at the age of 16, was the best player among all of the best U19 players in the United States and Canada. She's incredibly good, and yet her brother, Owen, is the first round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So there's a little hockey in that family, just a bit.
Yeah, and he runs 6'5", you said?
Yeah, about 6'5", 190 to 200.
And then, so she's got a little growth in her. She's going to be
and she's 5'10", so she's going to be a tall defenseman at Colgate and really help that program. She's one of the most impressive teenage athletes I think I've ever talked to. Just really an impressive person, and does so well in school and so well in other sports, and it's just a tremendous story.
Well, as Paulie Lyons said to you in the break, when's she running for prime minister? I think, she's probably, but when would she have time between everything else?
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't have any time.
You win the discus.
That baseball story, we didn't pay enough attention, I don't think, to that baseball story.
Right.
We're not talking about fast pitch softball here.
No.
This is baseball. And she plays on the boys team at Carillon, who were the provincial champs.
Good gracious.
Because she was 15 years old. She played the U15 team that was provincial champions, and then played on 3 separate female teams that all went to the national championships this year. So she had a lot of travel.
Yeah. On top of it. Well, you know what? The Sioux Shop in Ralph Engelstad Arena. And by the way, this weekend there's a little hockey game in Las Vegas, Nevada. Viva Las Vegas. Get ready for the upcoming hockey season. Well, it's already here. Visit the Sioux Shop inside REA or at the all-new SiouxShop.com. Great selection of jerseys, quarter zips, hoodies, and more, plus your headquarters for exclusive U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame game in Vegas apparel, also available on SiouxShop.com. So get it. It'll still be pertinent. Obviously, they'll be able to, even if you didn't go, you can say you went because you can buy the stuff, right? Also featuring UND football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, T-shirts, and more. Also, the upcoming hockey games, well, they're on the road in Vegas this week. Next week, they're somewhere exotic, I'm sure. I can't remember exactly where UND is playing, but the weekend after, University of Denver comes to town. Huge rivalry weekend. Salute to Service weekend. Retired and active military ticket discount with military ID at the REA box office. So get your tickets for those events. Get your gear at the Ralph Engelstad Arena and Sioux Shop. We appreciate their sponsorship all hockey season long. And I have a few weeks off before I hit the color analysis trail back up to Grand Forks for a few games. Denver, and then Miami comes to town. Get a little time off, and then January we hit it hard with Lindenwood coming to town with our friend Rick Zombo, Scott. So we get the chance to visit with Rick again. And, of course, in a couple of weeks is the last skate with Mr. Ed Belfour on November the 11th or 12th, either one of those days. Eddie we had on the show. And he's doing a taste testing at the Ralph Engelstad Arena.
Of course he is.
Thursday prior. So tell us about that taste testing, Mr. Are you a bourbon man?
I am not. I am not an any man. I'm a Coke man, Coca-Cola, by the way. No, I am not a bourbon man at all, nor a beer man, nor a vodka man.
I've always said this. People thought, how did I play hockey? I'm Canadian. I play hockey and I don't drink. And let's say a lot about things.
It's a scary show, isn't it?
It's a scary show indeed.
Same with both of us.
Well, anyway, we are Game On Hockey. This is 790 KFGO. Thanks for joining us. And it'll be each and every Thursday night, maybe a Friday if I do another show from the Ralph Engelstad Arena prior to a UND men's home game. But with that, well, Scott, I heard the announcement today. You go ahead and introduce our next guest because another accolade comes her direction.
Well, I'm truly thrilled to be able to bring in our next guest. Jocelyne Larocque is from St. Anne, Manitoba, living in Toronto, and I see by the seatbelt she's driving her car in Toronto, and
she's pulled over
and joining us.
Pulled over. Guess
Jocelyne,
I don't need it on. I can take it off.
Jocelyne, like Ashton Bell, our previous guest, has just come off a year in which she won a gold medal at the 2021 World Championships, a gold medal at the 2022 Olympics, a gold medal at the 2022 World Championships, and as a graduate of the University of Minnesota Duluth, fits in nicely to our program tonight about NCAA Division I hockey, but you are now in Toronto where you run 2 gyms. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you just got off your own work.
Yes, I just got off the ice. So with the gyms, we also run hockey programs. I run camps, I run private sessions, small group sessions, team sessions. So yeah, it keeps me busy, keeps my my life balanced, and I have a lot of fun giving back to the sport that, you know, has done so much for me.
Now, you are just recently inducted into the Manitoba Indigenous Sports Hall of Fame. And I have done a quite a bit of research on this. You are the most decorated Indigenous athlete internationally in Canadian history. You have won 3 Olympic golds?
2 Olympic golds and 1 silver.
And then 5 World Championship golds?
No, 3 World Championship golds, 5 silver, and 1
5
bronze.
silvers. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 silvers.
Yeah.
Must drive you crazy.
Yeah, at least the most recent ones have been gold. So
tell us your journey. Now, the other guests we've had earlier, Alana Collins, Ashton Bell, Avery Pickering, all small town kids, 1 from state of New York and 2 from Manitoba. You're a small towner too. How do you come from St. Anne, Manitoba to the University of Minnesota Duluth to Canada's national team? Tell us your journey.
Yeah, I like what you said. I grew up in St. Anne, Manitoba, a town of 1,500 people, and you know, when I was a really young kid, I was the only girl my age that played hockey. My sister and my cousin, who are 2 years older than me, they were the only 2 girls on their team. There was Bailey Bram, that's 2 years younger than me. She was the only girl on her team, and you know, we had to play with the boys, like I'm assuming Ashton and your other guests did as well. And you know, until I was 9 years old, you know, my dream was to always play in the NHL. I didn't even know that there was a Team Canada for women. The only role models I had as adults were men, visibly anyway. And you know, those 98 Olympics, that was a long time ago, but that was the first Olympics that women's hockey participated in. And I remember, like, at 9 years old, I still remember being glued to the TV, and I watched every single game. And, you know, unfortunately Canada lost, but every woman on that ice inspired me to switch my dream from playing in the NHL to playing on Team Canada. And you know, I knew at a really young age that I loved the sport. I had a dream of playing for Team Canada, but unfortunately, I wasn't very good at the sport. I loved it. I had a dream, but I always struggled. And you know, it took me until I was 13 to make my first A team. So in St. Anne, we always had enough players for an A and a B team. And for, you know, 5, 6, 7 years in a row, I got told that, you know, you wouldn't make that you didn't make the A team. So I learned at a young age that you have to push through adversity, that there's going to be setbacks, and that you have to put a lot of hard work if you want something. And fortunately, my parents always challenged me. And whenever I got cut from the A team, you know, I remember feeling sorry for myself. I was sad. I remember thinking, if I can't make my local town of 1,500 people's A team, how am I ever going to make Team Canada? And, you know, fortunately, they would sit me down at the dinner table and they would say, well, what are the areas that are going to help you if you improve in them to help you make that A team? And, you know, I had a pretty long list. And then I wrote down the actions that would help me get there. And, you know, I didn't know it then, but that's the essential, like, basics of goal setting. And, you know, a really quick example was my shot. I always had a bad shot. Still something I need to work on in my game. And, so, you know, I said, well, I need to get a better shot. And they said, well, how are you going to do that? And I said, well, I guess I need to shoot more pucks. So they got me plexiglass, they got me a bucket of pucks, they got me a net. And I would shoot pucks. I think I wrote down 4 days a week, and I would shoot pucks. And, you know, after a couple of weeks, I would see, you know, oh, I'm raising the puck now. And a couple of weeks later, then, you know, oh, I'm being able to hit the corners. So I learned at a really young age that if you put in hard work consistently over time, you'll get better and you'll improve. And that's helped me throughout my whole life, whether that's school, hockey, my career, is that I have that belief that if I put in the effort consistently, I'll get better. Because if I would have just shot pucks one night, wouldn't have got me any better. So it's something that I think has helped me as an athlete, that I'm always okay if something doesn't come easy to me, because I know that if I put in the work, I'll get better. There's no guarantees with that, but I know that I'm not afraid to like try new things and to fail and to kind of suck at things, because then I know that if I put in the work and the dedication, that I'll be able to get it, or I'll be able to at least get close to getting it. So I really think that helped me as an athlete, because it's definitely pushed me, and it's taught me the importance of hard work. And then fortunately, when I was 13, first year of hitting was the first time I made an A team. And I remember my dad not being very happy. He's like, the first time you make an A team and now the boys can hit you. So, so that was a tough year. That was a good adjustment. It definitely made me, focus on keeping my head up. That's for sure. But no. And then when I was in grade 12, I was looking at different universities, and when I visited Duluth, I, from about 3 hours in, I was like, I need to go here. And there was a lot of reasons. A really quick reason is, it's only about 5 or maybe 6 hours from my hometown. So I knew that my parents would be able to watch me often, my family. But it was that like small town feel. And I really like that. Like, it's a beautiful city right off the water, but you definitely get those small town vibes, and you don't feel I didn't feel overwhelmed when I was there. And as a kid, I didn't visit Toronto much. I didn't visit big cities. And when I did on my visits, I just felt a little overwhelmed. And I thought, university is going to be hard enough an adjustment to the school, to the hockey. I don't know if I need to add a big city to that. So I knew that I wanted to play there. And those were the really, really good 4 years. I was fortunate enough to win 2 national championships, but, I made friendships that I'll always remember. We had a very diverse team. There were players from Germany, Switzerland, Finland, US. So, I have friends all around the world, and that's really special. So, I had an amazing 4 years. It was a while now. I think it was 10 years ago now. So it's a long time, but still memories that I'll never forget and that I'll always cherish.
Well, Jocelyne, you know what? We're running out of time, unfortunately. We'd love to have you back again just to carry on this conversation. The goal is to inspire small town USA, Manitoba, Montana girls to take up the game of hockey and to strive to be the best they can be. And you have obviously done that. I feel I've only won 1 national championship as a player. I feel like I didn't accomplish anything talking to you at all.
No. You know what? And I love that that's what you guys are doing, because honestly, hockey's for everyone. And
yes, it is.
I've seen people start hockey at like the age of 40 or 50, which is amazing, because it's such a fun sport. Yep. Any team sport where you can like be amongst, people and camaraderie and friendships. And hockey's just fun too. So it's great to inspire those to, to start and to continue to play. And really, hockey's for everyone.
Well, I appreciate it. You know what? And that's what our goal is, to share the great stories.
Awesome.
We appreciate you being on. We'll love to have you on again, talk about the travels of your life and the game that's affected all of us. And we appreciate you joining us on a Thursday night. Well, Scott, we've got 1 more minute and we have to jump out the door. They kicked us out here. Thanks very much, Jocelyne. We'll talk to you again sometime soon.
Thanks, Joss. Appreciate it.
Great inspiration, my friend. I'm glad you thought of this, and we will continue to do this and carry on these stories.
I just think that they're tremendous interviews.
Yep.
I think it was a great introduction to these women, to our listening audience, and I hope we can have them all on again. I'm going to read something for you.
Oh, well, we're running out of time now. But anyway, the Golf Center in Grand Forks, we'll do 2 commercials on Saturday morning for those guys, but we got to say goodnight.
Take care.
Hang on for the Bucks football game. For Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn, this is Game On Hockey. Hope you've enjoyed it. Join us next Thursday. Enjoy Vegas if you're going. This is Game On for the Mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM.